Good evening. The Central Unified School District Board of Trustees regular meeting for May 23rd, 2023 is called to order at 6:04. Before continuing with our agenda, Trustee Kerfan notified the Board of Trustees this morning that he would be unavailable to attend the meeting in person and requested to attend today's meeting under Assembly Bill 2449, Just Cause. On that basis, the board needs to vote to approve allowing Trustee Kerfan to appear both telephonically and via video before we can move forward.
Motion to approve.
Thank you.
Second.
I have a motion by Trustee Mailing. I have a second by Trustee Solis. We will need to take a roll call vote, please.
Trustee Carrillo?
Yes.
Trustee Kerfan?
He will remain absent until the vote is approved.
Okay. Trustee Mailing?
Yes.
Trustee Sellers?
Yes.
Trustee Solis?
Yes.
President Chan? Do we have him?
Hello? Testing 1, 2, 3. Hello?
Yes.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you now.
Can you all hear me?
Yes. This is Trustee Carrillo. Can you hear us?
Trustee Kerfan.
President Singh?
President Singh, we are voting on a motion to allow Trustee Kerfan,
1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3.
so he can't hear us.
He can't hear.
I'm not sure if the others can hear me. But
President Singh, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
1, 2, 3 for myself. This is Trustee Nabil Kerfan. Can everyone hear me all right?
Yes.
Yes, can you hear us?
I can hear you, Nabil. I'm not sure if the others can or cannot.
Trustee Kerfan, can you hear me? This is Trustee Carrillo. He can see me, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, no. I don't think he can.
Oh, okay.
Do you want me to ask him to unmute? This for Kerfan?
Yeah, unmute Kerfan.
Okay.
Yeah, just,
Okay. Trustee Carrillo, I believe Trustee Kerfan can now, it seemed like his audio was on mute.
Gilbert, are you able to hear me?
Okay.
Yes, we can hear you, Trustee
Check
Kerfan.
1, 2.
Okay. So we just need
Yeah, I'm not sure.
President
Further,
Singh.
Bradley, can you respond if you can hear us? Or we can hear each other. Nabil and I can hear each other.
Yeah. I don't think we can hear the board if they're talking, or the rest of the board.
Yeah, we can't hear the rest of the board.
so testing. This is Trustee Carrillo, President Singh, Trustee Kerfan. Can you hear me? President Singh cannot hear me.
Still nothing.
Yeah, I can't hear anything either. Gilbert just wrote, we're testing mics. Deep, we can hear you. Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you both. Can you hear anything? No, neither of us can hear anything.
Nope.
Testing. This is Trustee Carrillo. President Singh,
Standby, says Gilbert.
Trustee Kerfan, can you hear me?
Do you have Trustee Kerfan on mute?
They said they can't hear us.
But neither one are on mute?
If they can't hear us, then being unmuted. Nabil's not muted. He can talk right
Okay.
now.
Okay,
The issue is that they can't hear us. We can hear them.
okay. So are they gonna have to watch?
I mean, I can unmute my laptop. Jen, Gentlemen, can either of you hear me?
Yes, now I can hear you.
Okay.
So
Yes, we can hear you now,
testing,
Gilbert.
So I have to mute my laptop. Do you guys just want to get through this and leave it on unmute for them to hear us that way? Here, I'm gonna go up there if that's okay, and I'll unmute so they can hear you guys. There might be an echo, and then we'll try to take care of it when you guys go into closed to kind of move things along, if that's okay. Yeah, so there'll be an echo.
President Singh, can you hear me now?
I can. Thank you, Vice President Carrillo.
I can hear as
Thank
well.
you. We have a motion by trustee Mailing, a second by trustee Solis, to allow trustee Kerfan to appear at today's board meeting via telephone and video conference. All members have voted with trustee Kerfan absent, and we are waiting for your vote, President Singh.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0 with 1 absent.
Thank you. With that, we will move to attendance. Can we please have a roll call?
Trustee Carrillo? Trustee Cervantes? Trustee Kerfan?
I need him to.
I believe, Trustee Carrillo, you're going to have to call Trustee Kerfan.
Trustee Kerfan,
Present, thank you.
Trustee Mailing?
Present.
Trustee Sellers?
Present.
Trustee Solis?
Here.
President Singh?
Unfortunately, it's very difficult to hear Anita's voice, and so I apologize, Vice President Carrillo, if you could possibly take the roll call votes for today.
yes. President Singh, will you acknowledge that you're present at today's meeting, please?
I am indeed present. Thank you.
Thank you. And with that, we'll move on to our next agenda item, adoption of the agenda. What are the wishes of the board?
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion by trustee Solis. I have a second by trustee Singh.
Trustee Carrillo?
We'll do a roll call vote. Trustee Carrillo, yes. Trustee Cervantes is absent. Trustee Kerfan?
Aye.
Trustee Mailing?
Yes.
Trustee Sellers?
Aye.
Trustee Solis?
Yes.
President Singh?
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0 with 1 absent. With that, we'll move to comments from the public on closed session items. If there is any member of the public wishing to address the board, 7-6-3150. If there are any members in the public wishing to address the board at this time related to any closed session items, please come forward. We will allow 30 seconds to pass. Yeah, absent for Cervantes. Are there any comments from the public?
30 seconds have passed and we have no comments by phone at this time.
Thank you. With that, we will adjourn to closed session, and we will return to open session at 7 p.m. or as soon as thereafter. Thank you. Bradley. The board reconvenes to open session at 7:03. Before I report action from closed session, I just have a couple of items to report. Trustee Cervantes joined us at 6:57.
7.
Joined us at 7 p.m. today. I also just want to give a huge thank you to our IT, Bradley Gum, Kayla McEwen, and Jason Dunbar. Your assistance and help with all of our tech is greatly appreciated, especially today, but every day that you help us operate our meetings. We also have Trustee Kerfan appearing telephonically and via Zoom. If I can just, under Assembly Bill 2448, under Just Cause, if Trustee Kerfan, can you please confirm if there are any individuals 18 years or older present in the same room, and if so, what is the nature of their relationship?
Thank you, Vice President Creo. There's no one 18 or older with me. Just sent my kid to bed, who's under 18.
Thank you very much. With that, I do have a couple of items to report from closed session. The certificated personnel report was approved by a motion by Trustee Solis, a second by Trustee Sellers, and a vote of 6-0 with one absent, Trustee Cervantes. Classified personnel report was also approved, motion by Trustee Mailing and a second by Trustee Solis, also a vote of 6-0 with one absent. Action was also taken under item E4, case number RMA 002103, by a motion by Trustee Solis, a second by Trustee Sellers, also a vote of 6-0 with one absent. And with that, if I can have Trustee Cervantes lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you, Trustee Cervantes. Next, we move on to community engagement information. Mr. Lazo.
Good evening. If you wish to address the board, call 559-276-3150 or fill out a request form provided at the table near the entrance and submit it to the clerk of the board prior to the meeting. If you wish to speak on an item on the agenda, please do so when the item is called. If you wish to speak on an item not on the agenda, you may speak during the public comment section of the agenda. Si desea dirigirse a la mesa directiva, llame al número 559-276-3150 o complete un formulario de solicitud provisto en la mesa cerca de la entrada y preséntelo al secretario de la mesa directiva antes de la reunión. Se permitirán comentarios públicos relacionados con los temas de la agenda cuando se llame el tema. Los comentarios públicos sobre un tema que no está en la agenda se permitirán durante la sección de comentarios públicos de la agenda. The district welcomes other language speakers to the board meetings. Anyone planning to attend and needing an interpreter for a language other than Spanish should call 559-274-4700, extension 10150, by noon on the Friday preceding the board meeting or at least 48 hours in advance of the meeting, so arrangements can be made for an interpreter. El distrito da la bienvenida a las personas que hablan otros idiomas a las reuniones de la mesa directiva. Cualquier persona que planifique asistir y necesite un intérprete para un idioma que no sea español, llame al 559-274-4700, extensión 10150, el viernes antes de la reunión y antes del mediodía, o por lo menos 48 horas antes de la reunión, para poder hacer los arreglos para la interpretación.
Thank you, Mr. Lazo. We move on to our presentations. Our first item under presentation, student recognition. If I can have Assistant Superintendent Boatwright.
Yes, thank you. I'd like to call up our Director of Curriculum and Instruction, Teacher Induction, and VAPA, Janine Warland.
Good evening, Board of Trustees, Superintendent Davis. I am absolutely delighted to recognize the following performance groups for their accomplishments at Great America on April 29th. Please understand that you do not embark upon this endeavor without having some level of accomplishment at the local and regional level, and boy, have they. I want to recognize Rio Vista Band for receiving unanimous superiors at the festival and taking first place in the competition. I also want to recognize Glacier Point's Wind Ensemble for also receiving unanimous superiors and sweeping the festival in his competition, first place. Now, this is unusual, but I am recognizing also the orchestra ensemble at Glacier Point. And the reason is the majority of these students had never played a string instruments before. They competed at a state event and took second. So kudos to all of them. And I'd like to turn this over to Mr. Chris Golden, the Director of Bands for Rio Vista, to call up his students. Thank you.
Good evening. As Ms. Warland said, my name is Chris Golden. I'm happy to be back here in Central Unified School District. This is my first year teaching at Rio Vista Middle School, and I'm so proud of the students behind me right now. They've had a great concert band season, which started off with unanimous superior ratings at the Kingsburg CMEA Festival March 16th, as well as a unanimous superior rating at the Washington Union CMEA Festival March 31st. A few weeks ago, we went to the Music in the Parks Festival hosted in San Jose, and I'm proud to say we competed against 5 other bands, one of the bands from a very large school that had 3 levels of band, and we took home first place in our division, first place overall, and we took home the Esprit de Corps Trophy for outstanding student attitude and behavior. These students have worked so hard. They are all here on a volunteer basis tonight and very proud to be recognized this evening. I just want to take this opportunity to thank Ms. Warland for all the support she's shown this year, for all of our parents who are here as well. We couldn't do that without them. I'm so excited about the direction our band program is heading. COVID was very challenging for our numbers. This is one of the smaller bands Rio has had in recent memory. So it was all in this year. In fact, Hector Castillo, can you raise your hand, Hector? He just learned the trombone in January and he competed with us, and he's just one example of how students are really at the beginning of their journey, and it's been great to see this kind of quick success. So again, thank you so much for having us this evening. I really appreciate the support. Thank you.
Totally not, it's totally like what you just said is totally opposite of what I was saying. I was like thinking of okay. Okay.
Let's give him another round of applause.
Hi, everyone. My name's Jeff LaRose. I'm the band director, orchestra director, and percussion director at Glacier Point Middle School. I prepared a small speech. It's kind of a little bit different, but I do want to thank everybody here, our Board of Trustees, Katie Davis, our superintendent, and the superintendent's cabinet for recognizing Glacier Point Rio Vista and all our students, the hard work, the dedication, and the success of our band and orchestra members. It's an honor to be acknowledged in this way. It's actually the first, I think, for our program. It's my 12th year in the district, and it's really cool to get this opportunity to be acknowledged like this. Your continued support of thank you for all this that you do to support us in our programs. And without you, we wouldn't be able to do the parades and the festival performances, the concerts, and all the music competitions like Music in the Parks at Great America that provide so much, all those wonderful learning opportunities that we have. So thank you for enriching our students and to help them grow their talents and their disciplines. And Central is really a truly great place for our students to grow. This is Glacier Point's 6th time we've taken first place overall over at Great America. 6 years in a row. It's pretty nuts. We also took unanimous superior in Reedley, the CMEI Music Festival in Reedley, and the orchestra placed had a superior rating there, and also superior at Great America. So thank you again, and just want to recognize our students, and as they head up, I'll just say their names. So go ahead. This is Ozzy Adams, Amaya Aguilera, Michael Battle, Zachary Cox, Danica Cruz, Priscilla Cuevas Pina, Kenneth Delgado Gutierrez, Melanie Duncan Valenzuela, Chance Gibson, Logan Hendrickson, Elijah Magana, Isabel Maldonado Mendez, Jesus Nava, Eli Wynn, Madison Nixon Sims, Luis Ramos, Nathan Rangel, Rayanne Romero Sanchez, Lucas Ruvalcalba, Zuri Sanchez, Zach Sanchez, Devin Simmons, Gersager Singh, Tamara Tucker, Terrence Tucker, Kaylee Vang, Adrian Vargas, Jacob Vieira, Perla Arellano, Yai Carmona Rodriguez, Julio Gonzalez Arellano, Faith Herr, Madeline Kiovichith, Stephen Martin, and Seth Almeida. Thank you. Whoa.
Let's give them another round of applause for their accomplishments. And if we can give all of our parents a big round of applause as well. Thank you for your support. We move on to employee recognitions. Superintendent Davis.
Thank you so much. I know that Assistant Superintendent Collegian can't wait to be here, and selfishly, I'm excited I get to do this. So good evening, Board of Trustees, colleagues, family, and friends. This evening, Central Unified has the distinct honor and privilege of recognizing our retirees for the 2022-23 school year. This year, we bid a fond farewell to 20 employees, many of who I see out here in the audience. Collectively, these individuals have dedicated a total of 508 years of service and support for students, staff, and the community. That deserves an applause for sure. And at this time, we are going to welcome Gilbert Magallon to present each retiree. When your name is called, we ask that you do come up so we have an opportunity to congratulate you, and then head that way for your recognition. You'll start this way and then come around. The kids just modeled it for you. So Gilbert, take it away.
Absolutely. So you heard Ketty Davis, our honorees. You're going to step onto the stage left, and then you're going to come off on the right-hand side where you're going to pick up a nice token of our appreciation for all your hard work. And when we're done, don't take off. Stay close because we want to get a group picture of you before you go off and you celebrate. So let's get started. If you're here, stand up and come up to the stage. Our first person is Carol Arendt. who has worked for Central Unified for 18 years, most recently at Han Fontilli Elementary as a kindergarten teacher. Her supervisor, Principal Kristen Ginger, says, "Mrs. Arendt, you have inspired so many over the years. Your creativity, dedication, and kindness have always led our students and staff on a path of inspiration, innovation, and love. To say you teach from the heart is an understatement. You will truly be missed by all in Central Unified, particularly at Han Fontilli." Let's get another round of applause. Our next honoree is Bernice Bailey, who has worked for Central Unified for 22 years, most recently at McKinley Elementary as a kindergarten teacher. Her supervisor, Jamie Prieto, says being in Bernice Bailey's class is a family tradition for many families, with Miss Bailey having the children of some of her former students in her class. She has dedicated her life to building students' foundational skills and fostering a love for learning in every student. She will be greatly missed at McKinley. Let's give her another big round of applause. Next, we have Fred Baldwin, who has worked for Central Unified for 24 years, most recently at Central East High School as a social science teacher. His supervisor, Brad Edmonds, says Mr. Baldwin has made a lasting impact on many students. He constantly has former students reaching out to thank him for being a great teacher. We hope that Mr. Baldwin is on a river somewhere in Montana catching a lot of fish, because we know that's what he loves to do. Let's give him a round of applause. Julie Bell, who has worked for Central Unified for 32 years, most recently at River Bluff Elementary as a kindergarten teacher. Her supervisor, Anne Marjolais, says Miss Bell is an extraordinary and much-loved educator. She has been impacting kindergarten students long enough that some of those students have their own kindergartners in her class. She is respected by colleagues as a vast source of knowledge and appreciated by all for her students and their families. We wish her many blessings for a fulfilling and joyful retirement. Robin Butterfield, who has worked for Central Unified for 21 years, most recently at Central High School as a homemaking teacher. Their supervisor, Dave Holterman, says Robin always goes the extra mile to provide students with the special experience inside and outside the classroom. She has been the advisor for the FCC LA Club, the junior class advisor, and traveled with students to help them compete at the state and national levels. Mrs. Butterfield will truly be missed. We wish her the best in her next adventures. Next, we have Garrett Crow, who has worked for Central Unified for 27 years, most recently at Soroyan Elementary as a 6th grade teacher. His supervisor, Joelle Mills, says Mr. Crow has touched the lives of hundreds of students, staff, and community members. When you think of Garrett Crow, what immediately comes to mind is his amazing personality, kind heart, and sense of humor. We will miss his smile, his energetic morning greetings, and of course, his Elvis decor. Congratulations on your retirement. Next, we have Michael Facciani, who has worked for Central Unified for 34 years. Most recently at Central High School as a math teacher. His supervisor, Dave Holterman, says Mike Facciani has been a pillar of positivity and learning at Central High School. Mike built relationships in such a way that students want to be in his class to learn. Central High will be different without him. We wish him the best in the next adventure. Next, we have Benedict Garcia, who has worked for Central Unified for 20 years, most recently as a bus driver. His supervisor, Jesse Bath, says Ben's commitment to our Central family has earned him the respect and love of all of his students and coworkers. Ben has been committed to transporting our students safely on a daily basis. He has an incredible ability to build relationships, be a team player, and lend a hand wherever needed. He will be missed. Next, we have John Hogue, who has worked for Central Unified for 16 years, most recently at LCAP Middle School as a PE teacher. His supervisor, Patricia McCurley, says during Mr. Hogue's tenure, he allowed students to learn in a safe and healthy environment. He has a passion for sports and coaching. He's able to use this passion to make connections with students. Mr. Hogue is a genuine, caring, and compassionate person. We wish him the very best of luck in his next adventure. Next, we have Lisa Ann Huddleston, who has worked for Central Unified for 28 years. Most recently at Steinbeck Elementary as a third grade teacher. Her supervisor, Esther Kircher, says Lisa Huddleston has devoted her entire 28 years of elementary education to John Steinbeck Elementary. Ms. Huddleston is described by her professional colleagues as caring, passionate, creative, artistic, intuitive, spiritual, and altruistically unselfish. Her hobbies include poetry, specifically spoken word, shopping, traveling to the coast, and spending time with those that mean the most to her. Let's give her another round of applause. Next, we have Beth Johnson, who has worked for Central Unified for 32 years. Most recently at Justin Garza High School as a science teacher. Her supervisor, Harmon Dillon, says Beth Johnson has served as a teacher, leader, mentor, and friend to so many of us who work at Central Unified. She has been a department chair, club advisor, master teacher, and avid teacher. Her ability to take on additional responsibilities exemplifies why Mrs. Johnson was truly an outstanding educator in our district. We wish her all the best. Next, we have Carolyn Kimball, who has worked for Central Unified for 33 years, most recently at Roosevelt Elementary as a TKK teacher. Her supervisor, Raul Diaz, says Carolyn Kimball is a passionate educator who has worked tirelessly to meet the needs of her students. Her laughter can always be heard throughout the hallways. Carolyn is giving of herself, the first to help others in need, and an extraordinary person. She is irreplaceable and will be greatly missed by her Roosevelt family. Let's give her a round of applause. Next, we have Maria Montez, who has worked for Central Unified for 17 years, most recently at Central East High School as a custodian. Her supervisor, Richard Romero, says Maria always has a smile on her face and is willing to help anyone in need. She has been a great asset to our team, providing incredible services to our students and staff at Central East High School. She will be missed. We wish her the best. Next, we have Jennifer Price Earhart, who has worked for Central Unified for 29 years, most recently at Steinbeck Elementary as a sixth grade teacher. Her supervisor, Esther Kircher, says during Miss Earhart's career, she has been involved in various extracurricular clubs, committees, and annual events. Mrs. Earhart is credited for receiving the grant to have our school garden, which many former and current students will fondly remember during their time at Steinbeck. Her colleagues describe her as a highly talented mentor teacher, innovative, collaborative, loyal, hardworking, and gracious. We wish her the best. Next, we have Patricia Robles, who has worked for Central Unified for 23 years. Most recently at Houghton Kearney as a principal secretary. Her supervisor, Courtney Gendron, says Pat Robles has been an integral part of Houghton Kearney family for many years. She's the first person to welcome our community to the site and provides continuous supports to students, staff, and each and every day. She has enriched and supported the education of generations of HK students. We are grateful for her years of dedicated service and wish her a wonderful retirement. Next, we have Emilio Salazar, who has worked for Central Unified for 28 years, most recently as a grounds worker. His supervisor, Jesse Batts, says throughout Emilio's tenure with Central Unified, he has demonstrated unwavering dedication, professionalism, and a genuine passion for maintaining our school grounds. His tireless efforts and attention to detail have played a significant role in creating a safe, clean, and aesthetically pleasing environment for our students, staff, and visitors. Thank you for all your hard work and dedication. Happy retirement. Next, we have Michael Salter, who has worked for Central Unified for 13 years, most recently at El Capitan Middle School as a sped aide. His supervisor, Patricia, says Mr. Salter has served the students of El Capitan in our special education department. He greeted staff and students with a warm good morning and was always pleasant to be around. Mr. Salter provided some of our most challenging students with a safe place to learn and grow. He is well respected by everyone in our community. Next, we have Terry Souza, who's worked for Central Unified for 36 years, most recently at Central High School as a library media tech. Her supervisor says Terry always treated students as individuals and considered their individual needs. Every event had a touch of Terry's creativity, from the homemade jams and jelly to the decorations. She made every gathering special. We deeply appreciate and miss Terry, and we hope she has a great and restful retirement. Round of applause, please. Next, we have Danny Tevens, who has worked for Central Unified for 24 years, most recently at Central High School as an academic counselor. His supervisor, Dave Holterman, says Danny Tevens was always willing to help those around him. He especially took great pride in helping students succeed. Danny worked to come up with solutions that could make life better for our staff and students at Central High School. His work as an administrator and a counselor was something we're all thankful for. Round of applause. Our last recognition goes to Stacy Whitehead, who's worked for Central Unified for 31 years, most recently at Roosevelt Elementary as a first grade teacher. Her supervisor, Raul Diaz, says Stacy Whitehead is an amazing teacher who has led the way for hundreds of Roosevelt students. The stories of generations who have come through Stacy's rooms are innumerable. We're so thankful for the lives she has touched during her tenure. We will miss her presence. We wish her many great moments as she moves on to her next adventure. Round of applause, please. And before we move on, if we can get all of our retirees back up here so we can get one group picture, and we can give them one more round of applause together as a group.
Thank you all very much for your service. We greatly appreciate it. We move on to Employee Association highlights. If we can ask CUDA President, Ms. Martinez, to join us from the Central Unified Teachers Association.
Good evening, Board Trustees and Superintendents. CUDA would like to echo the district's gratitude to each of our educators who are retiring this year. We are so appreciative of their dedication, their passion, and commitment to our students and Central community, and we wish them all the best in their next journey. 582 years, wow, that should tell you something. We also would like to voice our support for the LGBTQ plus resolution and the annual resolutions listed on tonight's agenda. You will be getting a letter from us regarding those resolutions. We also support information item N2 regarding Narcan at school sites. We thank you for your time and your vision.
Thank you, President Martinez. We do not have a representative present today from the California School Employees Association, so we'll move on to school highlights. We will begin our school highlights with Steinbeck Elementary School Principal Esther Karsher.
Evening. This is on. Good evening, Board of Trustees, Superintendent Davis, Cabinet, and members of the audience. My name is Esther Kircher, and I am a proud returning principal to John Steinbeck Elementary School. It is my absolute pleasure to share with you this evening some of the great things taking place in Shark Territory. A big focus area this school year has been on providing Tier 1 school-wide social-emotional supports to help kids feel connected to school. Practice have been implemented to foster positive relationships and to develop a mutual, respectful learning environment for all students and staff. Through our work with SEL and PBIS, social emotional learning, and positive behavior interventions and supports, our staff is pouring into students, helping kids feel accepted, respected, and connected. And as a result, our students are growing academically and discipline is decreasing. As you see here in our data screen, looking at our district's iReady benchmark data, students have made an increase of 8% in ELA and 13% in math from the fall to winter diagnostic. Our Fontes and Pinnell literacy scores have also increased 6.7 percentage points in comparison to this time last year. By providing professional development on student engagement, utilizing goal-setting strategies, and providing incentives and rewards for progress and achievement, I do anticipate even greater academic gains in our spring benchmark assessments, which are currently in progress. These gains are also reflected in our significant decline in discipline. Our suspension rate of 1.8 is a decrease of 6 points from the previous school year and falls well within our district goal of less than 5%. Our total suspension count is at 24. This means that 24 days of school have been missed because of suspensions. This is a decrease of 95 days from this time last school year. These gains are attributed to the restorative practices we have in place by use of our full-time intervention thinkery teacher, our full-time behavior counselor, our full-time psychologist. These staff members provide support for students via social skill sessions, group conflict resolutions, and emotion regulation. These staff members also support teachers with professional development on relationship building and mental wellness. According to our district's annual panorama survey, students and participating families also indicated an increase in school climate, school safety, sense of belonging, and school fit. Areas of progress on the right side of your screen includes the support for our English learners and the work done in our reading lab. Steinbeck is home to 118 English learners, which comprises 17% of our total enrollment. 5 English learners have met reclassification at the start of the school year, and 12 more projected to meet reclassification before June 8th, putting our total number of reclassified students at 17 for this school year. Overall, 35% of our ELs are making progress towards EL proficiency on the LCAP assessment, according to the California dashboard. Efforts made to support progress for our English learners include monitoring of daily designated ELD, professional development for teachers and scaffolding instructions, support for teachers of English learners by our site's EL teacher and the English learner group. Instructional rounds is another component that we have implemented where teachers observe other teachers to build instructional capacity in support of all level learners, but in particular our English learners. A second area of progress includes the work done in our reading lab. Our reading lab serves students in grades 1st through 6th to help them acquire literacy skills necessary to help them perform at grade level. During the first semester, 116 students received reading lab interventions. 99 of these students, or 85% rather, met the exit criteria of reading on grade level according to our district-wide F&P literacy assessment. Currently, our reading lab serves 91 students, helping them develop the literacy skills necessary. While we are making gains in academics and behavior, we are not without challenges. And these challenges have been our attendance rate and chronic absenteeism. Our current attendance rate consistently hovers around 91.6%. And while it is slightly above last school year, we are still below the district's goal of greater than 96.9. Chronic absenteeism has also improved from this time last year, but it continues to be an area that we are working towards improving. Efforts made to target these challenging are noted in the 6 bullet points there. First and foremost, we are working to create a collaborative coalition for and with students. This means that Tier 1 SEL supports ensure that every student on campus is greeted at their classroom door each morning. Morning meetings are conducted, SEL lessons are delivered, respect agreements are posted, and students are involved and engaged in the process. We target chronically absent kids by making phone calls, conducting meetings with parents, making home visits, and providing resources as needed. Another effort to reduce absenteeism is by providing student leadership opportunities, such as student council, peer mediators, recess leadership, to help give students a voice and a purpose on campus. We have ongoing activities to incentivize FINS behavior. FINS, this is our shark sign, and it describes our expectations to be focused, independent, nice, and safe. So from daily morning announcements, lunchtime entertainment in the cafeteria, dress-up days, we are all working to create a culture of kindness, compassion, and inclusivity. New this year to Steinbeck Elementary is our clothing closet that provides families with articles of clothing, shoes, even toiletries to students and families in need. And also, we have also partnered with Success Together to provide a series of 7 parent workshops to support all of our students. We know that students are more likely to succeed in academics when they attend school consistently, so these efforts are designed to help students to want to be in school. Our spotlight for this school year has revolved around creating the conscious culture of kindness to support that warm and inclusive environment where students can thrive. We have promoted reading buddies where upper grade students read to and with lower grades. We've created activities to emphasize teamwork and intentional acts of kindness. We are building students' sense of belonging, self-esteem, and peer acceptance. In taking this connectedness to the next level, we have developed a partnership with Central East Campus that allows for various opportunities to collaborate. These partnerships include Central East students that push into classrooms once a week to work with our students while fulfilling their child development units for dual enrollment. We have high school peer mediators that support with mentoring during Wednesday's lunch recess. We have also held rallies by Central East Leadership Class, presentations by members of their Black Student Union, and entertainment by Central East Ballet Folklorico. A second partnership has been with Fresno Troy Center. Troy is the acronym for Truly Reviving Our Youth. That was developed through our work with AVID and TCAE, which I'll talk a little bit more about. In addition to facilitating flag football and soccer for our sports, for our students, the Troy Center provides mentoring and guidance in what otherwise would be our unstructured lunch recess block. As an AVID stands for Advancement via Individual Determination site. We are the first elementary site in our district. We provide school-wide practices to prepare students and promote college attendance. Also, with the support of FCSS, we have initiated the work with TCAE, which is an acronym for Teachers of Color Alliance of Educational Empowerment, to get students and parents talking now about the college and career, even at the elementary level. Lastly, another great highlight for John Steinbeck Elementary has been our work in developing student peer mediators. We currently have 2 cohorts of students that have received training on effective communication and conflict resolution. These 42 students are tasked with donning their bright yellow-orange vest, as you see on the lower half of your screen. They go out during the recesses, and they help prevent conflicts during recess and help teach games of tetherball and the appropriate way to play 4-square and 2-square and hopscotch, because sometimes when there is a disconnect on the understanding of the rules, that's what fosters those disagreements. So this concludes my presentation on some of the amazing things taking place at John Steinbeck Elementary School. I thank you so very much for the opportunity, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Principal Karsher. Are there any questions from the board? Any comments?
Comments. Congratulations on some of your success, and I love your energy and some of this, the peer connection, some of the spotlight issues that you have highlighted. Congratulations on those. I'm sure they're going to pay dividends.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other board member?
Hi, this is Trustee Kerfon. Principal Kircher, I just want to say congratulations. Hope you can hear me. You guys have a lot of success, it seems, and we're very proud of the work you're doing at Steinbeck. I would just love to hear more about how you guys were able to bring the suspension rate so down, so below our district average or our goals. It's really impressive what you've been able to accomplish. So I'd love to hear more about how you did it.
Was that for discipline? I'm
Yes,
sorry.
related to your suspension
Yes.
rates.
Thank you. We've really focused this year on providing restorative practice. So instead of just disciplining students punitive consequences for their behavior, we're really being focused on teaching them the proper way to act and the proper way to behave. And I'm not kidding when I say that we are forming a coalition of kindness, because that has been our mission all year long. And we model it. We provide opportunities for students to do it. And it's just really made an impact. So, for example, if student misbehaves because they're in a conflict with another student, well, then we have them do a presentation on kindness and what it means to use their words instead of acting out physically. So things of that sort have really made an impact. And they go and present their presentations to lower grades or to peers, and that also has been powerful in developing their self-esteem and their presentation skills. So it's a win-win.
All right. Thank you for answering the question. And again, congratulations on all Steinbeck has to celebrate this year.
Thank you.
Thank you. I do want to just echo, I was impressed by the decrease in the suspension rate, so keep up the great work. I would aspire that all our schools one day would be at 0%, but I realize the reality of the situation. I was also impressed and really liked hearing about the reading labs and how those are helping our students improve significantly, so thank you. I have, and also the peer mediators. I love it. I love that the kids are the ones engaging. I feel like as much as we like to think that we can have a positive influence and kind of help students, sometimes it's much better if students are hearing from other students, reminding them of the rules, because I know how important it is to follow those rules. I have one question for you. I loved hearing about the parent workshops, but can you tell me just a little bit about the different languages that you are serving or presenting those parent workshops, if they are being provided in languages other than English, and kind of how that's being advertised and the success, how responsive parents are to attending and participating in the parent workshops?
Absolutely. We've had a series of 7 workshops. The languages provided for translations have been Spanish and Punjabi predominantly, because those are the families that have registered to sign up. We have sent home flyers. We make phone calls. We utilize our liaison and our secretaries to make phone calls to reach out to parents. We have strategically set the start time at 5:30 p.m. when majority of our parents are picking up their kids from our Shark Island after-school program, so they can come in, have free dinner, sit with their students. We also do provide childcare, and we tell our students every morning, if you bring an adult, you'll get a free prize from the Shark store. So those little incentives have really been valuable in drawing our students so that they can bring their parents in. So predominantly the Spanish and Punjabi languages have been utilized for our parents.
Fantastic, thank you. And we have just comments or questions from our board president. President Singh?
Yes, thank you so much, Principal Kirchner. I just also want to just get a kind of general idea from you. Just how was the transition back to being on a site? What were things that kind of really worked well, or what were sort of supports even our district helped provide?
The question, if I can repeat it, is that how was the transition back from being in a different position back onto campus, and maybe mention some of the supports that were provided to help you with that?
No, absolutely. So I mentioned earlier that I was a returning principal to Steinbeck Elementary School. I did take some time off to work in ed services for the EL department. The transition has been amazing. I feel like I've further developed my capacity to support not just instruction for all students, but for English learners. It's been absolutely amazing. And just my own personality, I love the energy of being in a school site, more than, I guess, just being in an office. So I love the support team that I had working in ed services, but being at the elementary school is more my jam, so to speak. Thank you. Thank you, President Singh.
Anything further, President Singh? Hearing no response.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very
you
much
so
for your
much.
presentation. We now invite Principal Dillon from Justin Garza High School.
Good evening, Board President Singh, Superintendent Davis, and Board of Trustees. My name is Harmon Dillon, and I have the honor and privilege of completing the first year of principal at Justin Garza High School. And so I'd like to take a moment to just highlight some of the amazing things that are happening on our campus. So some of the celebrations that I would like to bring to light are our DNF rate. We are working closely with Ed Partners on track work, and we're focusing predominantly on our Math 1 students, noticing that that was a high fail course on our site. And so from the fall 2022, when we had a 37% rate of failure in Math 1, to the spring semester where we were able to decline that to 29%. So that was a huge win for us. We did have reclassification of 31 students who were able to reclassify and were removed from their designated ELD class and put into an elective course to help further their understanding of what secondary options are available for them. So that was a huge win for us. And then we also had over 500 courses completed for students for our credit recovery, which is huge because currently we do not have a graduating class, but this is the work that we're doing to make sure that next year we will be ready to graduate in June of 2024. This work, in turn, has progressed to increase our A through G completion. We understand that college is an option for many of our students and want to make sure our students have all the options available to them once they leave our doorstep. And we also were able to increase our students on track for graduation, recognizing that not all of our students might go through to a four-year college, but some of them might want to go to a community college or a vocational track. And so making sure that they are on track to graduate. In turn, our GPA has increased, so having students being eligible to attend some of our extracurricular activities has also been a huge plus. And in turn, that increases our elective options available for our students. With our staff has been a huge part of this work. They have made collective commitments on Wednesdays during our professional development to ensuring that the work that they do inside the classroom is evident in the work that the kids produce. So collective commitments are something we do with our staff regularly, and we circle back on those. Our staff has stepped up and recognized that 55-minute classes, not a lot of our students are getting the opportunities to relearn some of the core concepts, and so lunch tutoring and office hours are prevalent on our site. Alongside with EL tutoring, we were fortunate enough to recognize that EL tutoring is something that we needed to hire, and so we were able to offer EL tutoring 5 days a week for our students who are English language learners. Credit recovery opportunities, we did add an additional intercession for winter and spring break. So we did have students who were able to complete additional coursework over that time in conjunction with our counselors monitoring and making sure our kids were getting their classes done on time. So though there are some challenges at Justin Garza High School, I'd like to highlight that our attendance data is at 93%, though it is below the district's goal. We are highest in the secondary world. Our chronic absentee, though, has increased by 26%, and we attribute that to our increase in our grade level that we had added this school year. Our suspension data is at 4.7%, which surprisingly, and I attribute it to the support staff we have on our site, is down 1.7 from the same time last year. We do have many supports and interventions in place to make sure students know what Justin Garza Guardians stand for. We strive for success, we think of others, we act responsibly, we don't give up, and we demonstrate leadership. And so every week we do have a BATE meeting that we have multiple different stakeholders involved in that process. And so they do get to come together at a designated time to talk about some of our tier 2, tier 3 students and how to support them to make sure we are getting them connected to school. We also utilize our counseling team to make sure that they are monitoring their caseloads and putting the appropriate supports in place for our students through the SST process. We do have outside resources available for our students, like All for Youth for mental health services and Prodigy for drug and substance abuse, as well as our on-site support, our intervention counselors, intervention specialists, and national impact mentoring. Along with encouraging our students to come to school by getting them connected to school, we are able to do home visits and empathy interviews with our intervention specialists to make sure we are finding the root cause for why students are not coming to school. Along with the work that we do, we recognize that students in high school tend to sometimes make mistakes, and so we are working with our administrative team to make sure we have restorative policies in place so that they are not being punitive, but actually working with the students to work to increase their behavior. We have a tardy party coming up on June 1st to incentivize students to getting to class, and that is on June 1st. And so currently we have about 350 students who have shown us that they can get to class on time. So incentivizing that with a ice cream party is coming soon for them. This year, as the principal, recognizing that we don't have a senior class yet, we wanted to focus on culture of care. And so we recognize that we have a huge diverse population at Justin Garza High School. So academics plays a huge role in the work that we do, but recognizing that we have students who enjoy doing extracurricular activities. We had students participate in our Science Olympiad and got third place, which was a huge win for us. In fall 2022, we had over 400 students who had above a 3.75 GPA. So the students are doing the work to show that they are mastering the content and are ready to progress onto post-secondary goals. We did have 2 History Day champions. They're up there on the screen for you to see. And then we did place 3rd in mock trial. It's our first ever year participating in mock trial, and a huge shout out to Carrie Teresi and her team for beating out some of the well-established teams in our county. So that was a win. And then we heard the voices of the community and recognizing that dual enrollment is something that our community is asking for. And so that is the work that we've done to make sure that we start that dual enrollment for the fall semester that's coming up pretty soon. We were able to get our first ever varsity sports off the ground, athletic events, and so our cheer did win Central Valley Division I championship, which is huge for us, and the girls wrestling team did win in their division. With our Tier 1 interventions, our activities director is able to bring a lot of our students' home lives onto campus, and so we were able to add Cumbia Bass, we have a Bhangra Club, we had Loteria one day, so we encourage and acknowledge that our students come from diverse backgrounds, and so we were able to add Folklorico to our site after school program, and it's been a robust program that we are having students participate in. We are continuously doing our stand luncheons to show students that we recognize the work that they do and follow the stand principles on our site, along with making sure we give them enough opportunities to see the work that they can participate in outside of school, like our college visits and any other activity that their club wants to participate. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Principal Dillon. Any questions or comments from the board? Trustee Kerfan, comments or questions?
Just thank you, Principal Dillon, for the work you're doing. And again, happy to see the suspension rate going down at Garza.
President Singh, comments or questions?
No, I just I'm glad to hear overall some of the things that are happening. I know there have been challenges, and I'm very excited about sort of some of the things we're putting in place to hopefully address them as we continue to mature at Justin Garza High School.
Thank you. I have just a quick question. First, Actually, two questions. Thank you for all the great work that you're doing. Very impressive, especially as a first-year principal, so thank you very much. Two questions. Can you tell us a little bit more about what the campus is doing to help students reduce the DNF rate?
Yeah, so besides having lunchtime tutoring and after-school tutoring, we are going to do a strong push to have in-class interventions for teachers, so making sure teachers are focusing on the instruction that's happening first come, first serve for students, and so that's the work that we're doing.
Thank you. And then you also talked about the increase in chronic absenteeism and the empathy interviews. I'm curious, you may or may not have an answer. I understand it's a cold call question. Yeah. Any consistent theme as to why students are chronically absent, or maybe even tardy? Because if they're tardy for a certain amount, that also counts against chronic absenteeism, right? Okay.
Right.
Anything consistent that you, okay.
Yeah, currently we haven't been able to dive into the responses and analyze the responses, but that is the work that we're going to do, so hopefully get us ready for August.
Fantastic. Yeah. Well, thank you very much. We appreciate all the work that you're doing there, so thank you.
Thank you.
So thank you to both Steinbeck and Justin Garza for our school highlights. We'll move on to Superintendent and Board Communications. Superintendent Davis.
Thank you. I've got a couple of things. This week is Classified Employees Week, and so you may recall at our last board meeting we mentioned the ACE program that's going on this week, which encourages members of our leadership team to shadow classified employees. I want to acknowledge and thank our board members who have or will be participating in job shadowing this week. I know Trustee Solis shadowed one of our bus drivers this morning, I think, and Trustee Cervantes, you'll be shadowing a couple of employees later this week. I, too, am doing that tomorrow, and I'm looking forward to it. So we do want to thank our classified employees for all they do. Also want to alert you that the Grapevine Spring Edition is about ready to print and will be coming out between this meeting and next, so watch your mailboxes for that. It is also available digitally in Spanish and Punjabi. There's a QR code on it so that we can make sure it's accessible to more. As was mentioned earlier, the resolution that is on tonight's agenda for June, I do want to draw attention to the LGBTQ plus Awareness Month. The purpose of this commemorative month is to recognize the impact that LGBTQ individuals have had on history locally, nationally, internationally, and promotes equal rights and raises awareness of issues. Lastly, I would like to also share last night that I was invited to attend the B'nai B'rith Sports Scholar Award, and Central Unified was represented incredibly well. Talia Maxwell from our state winning basketball team from Central East High School was there with a support crew of Principal Edmonds, the athletic director both for the site and the district, her coach, as well as Assistant Superintendent Clegian and I, and her family. So it was a great night to recognize maybe a shy athlete for us and give her some attention before she heads off to Cal State Stanislaus. So that's all for me.
Thank you, Superintendent Davis. Do we have any member of the board wishing to speak at this time?
President Creel or Vice President Creel?
Trustee Gerfon, I didn't understand you. Do you wish to speak?
Yes, I was trying to get my call on. Thank you. Yeah, so good evening, Central Unified. Unfortunately, I'm joining remotely this evening. After a suspicious sore throat this morning, I tested positive for COVID-19. I have a few other symptoms, but due to my care from my doctors and the fact that I'm vaccinated, prognosis remains strong. But thank you to all those who wish me well. Look forward to resuming back in person after my quarantine period has ended, and I'm grateful for Assembly Bill 2449 that allows us to participate remotely. This sound policy is why the 11,000 plus voters in my district still get their representation tonight. Encourage everyone, parents, staff, and students to wash their hands and consider wearing masks when appropriate. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Gerfon. We hope you feel better soon. A brief comment for me. I just want to thank our district. They hosted at Biola the PICE, the Parent Institute Qualified Education graduation ceremony on May 10th and invited me to be the guest speaker. And so I was really privileged. It was a great privilege to be able to speak to the parents and kind of share my educational upbringing and the value of my mom's involvement in my education. So I just really appreciate the district and the administration for reaching out and allowing me the opportunity to share that. So thank you very much. So with that, we'll move on to our comments from the public. At this time, if there is any member who is watching remotely who wishes to provide a comment during this public session, this is an opportunity to speak on any item that is not on the agenda. The number to call is 559-276-3150. We do have 2 individuals in the audience who wish to provide a comment, so we will take those first. We will provide 2 minutes to provide your comment. If Mr. Robert Mitchell can come forward. Yeah. Make sure you push. There we go.
Good evening. There we go. Trustees and Superintendent. I want to first say thank you to Ms. Bergman, who worked with me on trying to get our Buffalo Soldier troop gathering together, but Mother Nature had something in store for us, and we weren't able to do that this year. But I'm sure we'll reconvene. The 3 different troops out of Colorado, Arizona, and LA are still with it and plan to support us. That was a piece of the puzzle. The other piece of the puzzle that I initially came to the board with was mentoring. Mikhail Shinstein just did a piece last year in Cal Matters that showed the African American gap is increasing with graduation, with students not graduating from Cal State systems. Okay, so if that's a barometer, I would like to pose a question, especially hearing from Ms. Kircher and some of the comments about, Principal Kircher, about peers and mentoring and things like that. If this gap is increasing, how is it that Central is kind of slow to, adopt some mentoring that I've brought forth? With that being said, I'll just read off a number of the individuals. Generally, I'll start with Dr. Oyemade, who's a psychiatrist, Thomas Witt Ellis, who's a professor of theater.
Dr. Mitchell, that concludes your 2 minutes. I invite you to share that list via email if you'd like to share it. I also invite you and understand that you've been in communications with our district administration with respect to this mentorship program. And so if you can connect with our Dr. Boatwright, our Assistant Superintendent of Education, to make sure that we obtain the necessary information and clearance so we can move forward with establishing that relationship and that mentorship program.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, and I apologize if I butcher the name, Safara Quillar? Quillar? Cuellar. Oh, I'm sorry. This is for a specific item. Just kidding. We will take your comment at a later time. Do we have any member of the public wishing to speak on items not on the agenda?
Setting 30 seconds on the clock.
19. As we wait, do we have Cuellar in the audience? Oh, yes, not. S- what do you think is the name?
So Amelia was recognized. I bet somebody signed in
Okay.
saying that they were here, but he was recognized under I2.
Okay. Thank you.
30 seconds have passed, and we have no comments by phone at this time.
Thank you. And that'll conclude our public comment section of the agenda. We'll move on to our consent agenda. I just want to highlight that under the consent agenda, we do have resolution number 222348 in recognition of the LGBTQ plus Awareness Month. And the other items are standard. So with that, what are the wishes of the board on the consent agenda?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. I have a motion by Trustee Solis.
Second.
I have a second by Trustee Kerfan. I will do a roll call vote. Or actually, Anita, can you do a roll call vote, please?
Trustee Carrillo?
Yes.
Trustee Cervantes? Trustee Kerfan?
Aye.
Trustee Mayling?
Yes.
Trustee Sellers?
Yes.
Trustee Solis?
Yes.
President Chan?
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you. With that, we move on to our action items. Our first item is receive Bond Oversight Committee Annual Report 2021-2022. We have Mr. Rodriguez and a representative from our Bond Oversight. The floor is yours.
Good evening, Board President, Board of Trustees, and Superintendent Davis. Tonight, you are receiving information regarding the Citizens Bond Oversight Committee Annual Report for 2021-2022. And at this time, I would like to introduce to you Ms. Melissa Andresian, who is a member of the committee and will present to you the annual report findings.
Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez, and we'll make this short and sweet. Good evening. My name is Melissa Andresen. I am a member of the Citizens Bond Oversight Committee. I am representing the committee tonight to present the findings of the 2021-22 annual reports that reviewed the expenditures of the bond measures B, C, and D. As a committee, we met and reviewed the status of the projects, the annual independent financial audit, the internal independent audit for the year ending June 30th, 2022. The independent financial report identified no findings or deficiencies in the internal controls. In addition, the annual independent audit stated that the expenditures of the funds were utilized by projects approved by the voters. Both audits were conducted by Crow LLP. The Citizens Bond Oversight Committee, based on its review of the annual financial and performance audit reports and the information received at its meetings, finds that the Central Unified School District is in compliance with the requirements of Article 13A, Section 1B3 of the California Constitution. I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Are there any comments or questions from the board? Great. Okay, hearing no comments or questions, is there a motion to accept the report? Thank you. I have a motion by Trustee Cervantes. Is there a second?
Second.
I have a second by Trustee Sellers. Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Carrillo?
Yes.
Trustee Cervantes? Yes. Trustee Kerfan?
Yes.
Trustee Mayling?
Yes.
Trustee Sellers?
Yes.
Trustee Solis?
Yes.
President Chan?
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you very much. Our next item is accept gifts to the district. Assistant Superintendent Collegian.
Thank you, Vice President. The following gifts to the district are attached for your review. This evening we have two gifts. One for El Capitan Middle School, donation of $150 from Premium Commercial Group, and another donation from Donors Choose, totaling $528.93. And lastly, Central High School received several donations for the 100-year anniversary celebration, and those are listed for your review as well. Administration is recommending acceptance of these gifts and approving the item. Thank you so much. Happy to answer any questions the board may have.
Thank you, and thank you very much to all of our donors. Are there any comments or questions from the board? Okay, is there a motion to accept the gifts?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. I have a motion by trustee Solis. Is there a second? I have a second by trustee Cervantes. Thank you very much. Roll call vote.
Trustee Carrillo?
Yes.
Trustee Cervantes?
Yes.
Trustee Kerfon?
Aye.
Trustee Mayling?
Yes.
Trustee Sellers?
Yes.
Trustee Solis?
Yes.
Trustee Singh?
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you. Moving on to item 3, approve trustee members to participate on School Facilities Planning Committee. Superintendent Davis.
Thank you. This item returns from the last meeting and is our opportunity to request of you that you identify 2 members to serve on our upcoming School Facility Planning Committee, and also notice that there will be an additional spot, a 3rd spot, where we will rotate through alphabetically like we've done before. Following any answers to questions that you may have, I'd love to get the names of nominees.
Thank you. Before I solicit self-nominations or nominations, are there any questions or comments? Okay, is there anyone interested in participating? Self-nominations?
I would be interested.
Okay.
I would be interested.
Thank you, President Singh. Anyone else?
I would.
Trustee Solis? Anyone else? Okay, so we do have 2 self-nominations, President Singh and Trustee Solis. Is there any board member that wishes to participate as a rotating member? Thank you.
I would be interested in participating in the rotating fashion.
Okay, Trustee Sellers beat you to the mic. So with that, I will move to approve President Singh and Trustee Solis as our designated 2 trustees and Trustee Sellers as our rotating trustee on the Committee for School Facilities Planning.
To just make a motion, I have clarification on that. So the rotating position would allow an individual to each meeting that we have. It's not a.
Oh, I'm
it's
sorry.
not a,
I'm sorry. Thank you.
Backup. It's
Okay,
actually
I
a
will
spot.
withdraw my motion and will provide a different motion. I move to approve President Singh and Trustee Solis as our designated trustees for the School Facilities Planning Committee. Can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. I heard a second by Trustee Sellers. Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Carrillo?
Yes.
Trustee Cervantes? Yes. Trustee Kerfon?
Aye.
Trustee Mayling?
Yes.
Trustee Sellers?
Yes.
Trustee Solis?
Yes.
President Singh?
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you very much. We'll move on to our next item, approve submission of annual resolutions. Mr. Magallon.
Hello, Board of Trustees, President Singh, and Superintendent Davis. So before you have a revised list of resolutions that were voted on initially by our community members for the board to potentially recognize during board meetings. If you will, or if you remember, the Board of Trustees advised or instructed, rather, for administration to create a resolution. Jesus, sorry. Let me try that again. Take 2. The Board of Trustees instructed administration to create a survey where the community would vote on resolutions they thought were important for the Board of Trustees to recognize. We were then instructed, or I was then instructed, to work with President Singh and Clerk Kerfon to revise that list, and that is what you have before you. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Your work is greatly appreciated. Are there any comments or questions with respect to the list? The proposal is for the board to approve this list, and administration would begin working on the necessary resolutions moving forward. Any comments or questions? Okay, well, thank you. I love the list. I appreciate, again, all the work that you guys did in following our requests and directives. Is there a motion to approve? Thank you. I have a motion by Trustee Cervantes. I have a second by Trustee Sellers. Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Carrillo?
Yes.
Trustee Cervantes?
Yes.
Trustee Kerfon?
Aye.
Trustee Mailing? Yes. Trustee Sellers?
Yes.
Trustee Solis?
Yes.
President Singh?
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you, and thank you to our community who participated in identifying those important resolutions to our community. Our next item is item 5, hold a public hearing and approve contract openers for labor negotiations between Central Unified School District and Central Unified Teachers Association, Chapter 961. Assistant Superintendent Collegian.
Thank you, Vice President Carrillo. As required by Government Code Section 3547 through 3547.5, a public hearing must be held prior to adopting the initial proposals between Central Unified and Central Unified Teachers Association, affording the opportunity for the public to be informed and, of course, to provide input, and then subsequently approve this very item. Initial proposals by CUTA include Article 7, class size, Article 13, transfers and reassignment, Article 9, health and welfare benefits, and all appendices A through G. CUSD articles include Article 8, teaching day hours and school calendar, and a new article which will be later proposed during negotiations. Administration is recommending that the school board hold a public hearing and then in turn adopt the contract openers between Central Unified and CUTA. Thank you so much, and happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. We will first hold the public hearing. At this time, I'd like to declare the public hearing open. Is there any member of the public wishing to speak at this time? And if we can please set 30 seconds on the clock if there is any member who is listening or watching us via Zoom who would like, via YouTube, who would like to provide a comment, the number to dial is 559-276-3150.
"30 seconds have passed, and we have no comments by phone at this time."
Hearing no comments, I will now close the public hearing. We move on to approval of the openers. Are there any questions or comments from the board? Hearing none, is there a motion to accept
Motion to approve.
the openers? Thank you. I have a motion by Trustee Solis. Is there a second?
Second.
I have a second by Trustee Sellers. Thank you very much. Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Carrillo?
Yes.
Trustee Cervantes? Trustee Kerfon?
Aye.
Trustee Mailing?
Yes.
Trustee Sellers?
Yes.
Trustee Solis?
Yes.
President Singh?
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you. We move on to item 6, approve new job description, Assistant Superintendent Collegian.
Thank you, Vice President Carrillo. Attached for your consideration and review and input, and thus later approval, is a new job description titled Supervisor of Campus Culture and Safety. This position would be located on the certificated management salary schedule. Work days would be 205 days, and under financials, you'll see the 5-step current salary schedule for this said position. This job description was put together by input from several departments, and using job descriptions from with similar positions up and down the state to put together. It's attached for your review. Administration is asking for consideration or input to allow for this position to be advertised soon thereafter, and your input is greatly appreciated. Happy to answer any questions the board may have.
Thank you. And I would just like to add on behalf of the board that we've listened to our community. We're listening and reading the emails and taking your phone calls, and we're aware of the need to provide additional support for safety concerns on our campus. And so this is one way that we're responding and providing the support to our students and to our staff to provide the necessary training and oversight for those individuals that are responsible for our campus safety. Are there any questions or comments from the board? I have one quick question. I apologize for not submitting it in advance. When we're talking about education and experience, can you please talk a little bit more as to what we envision or what we're requiring as far as the advanced degree and area of specialty?
Yes, the base credential would be either a teaching credential or a certificated credential in school psychology would qualify, special education, any baseline credential, multiple subject or single subject would be the base, in addition to an administrative credential as well. Experience in the counseling realm, interventions, preventions, multi-tiered systems of support would be some areas that we would look for in the recruitment of this person to lead this area. Advanced and experience in programs and anti-bullying and intimidation tactics as well would be some of the items that would be competitive for this person to be considered for this position.
Awesome, thank you.
You're welcome.
And thank you very much for the descriptive and the detailed representative duties. I think it's really helpful. So if applicants in the educational field and with this type of experience look at this job description, if they look at the advanced degree in the area of specialty, will they know that you're looking for, that the specialty you're looking for is related to the various areas that you just mentioned?
Yeah, they would. The way we'll advertise it on our various social media platforms and through EdJoan and EdCal would have a summary in addition to the job description being attached.
Like the job posting?
The job posting that advertises specifically what the the general responsibilities are for this position.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Anyone have any questions or comments? Okay, so with that, I will move to approve the job description. Thank you. I have a second by Trustee Mailing. If I can have a roll call vote, please.
Trustee Carrillo?
Yes.
Trustee Cervantes? Yes. Trustee Kerfan?
Yes.
Trustee Mailing?
Yes.
Trustee Sellers?
Yes.
Trustee Solis?
Yes.
President Singh?
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you. Our next item is item 7, approve the Biola Pershing Community Wellness Center. Ms. Pennington.
Good evening, Board President Singh, Superintendent Davis, and members of the board. Coming back to you tonight, I shared with you about the Biola Wellness Center at the last board meeting, and coming back to you tonight for action is approval of the Wellness Center. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions or comments related to this item? Trustee Cervantes?
Forgive me if I overlooked it, but what is the timeline for completion?
As soon as we can.
Yes, we anticipate.
Yeah, great answer.
We anticipate the Wellness Center opening at the start of the school year.
Of next year's school year?
This coming school year, yes.
All right, thank you.
Wow, that's fantastic. Any other questions or comments? Okay, I just want to really thank you guys for building the relationships, for those who have been vocal in their participation and our silent partners who also make sure that we are building these collaborations and can provide these services. It's going to be really impactful, and so I'm really excited to see the impact it will have for our students and our families in that community. So with that, is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
I have a motion by Trustee Solis. I have a second by Trustee Mailing. Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Carrillo?
Yes.
Trustee Cervantes?
Yes.
Trustee Kerfan?
Aye.
Trustee Mailing?
Yes.
Trustee Sellers?
Yes.
Trustee Solis?
Yes.
President Singh?
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you. Moving to item 8, approve legal services for the year 2023-2024. Superintendent Davis.
Thank you. This item returns from the last meeting. I did follow up and have conversation with each of the entities about any ability to adjust price. The prices are listed and are set. We do recommend approval of those still, so we can continue the work we're doing.
Thank you. Those attorneys are hard negotiators. Any questions or comments from the board? What are the wishes of the board on this item? I have a motion by trustee Cervantes. Was that trustee Kirfan or President Singh?
President Singh.
Okay. A second, or was that a question?
Second.
Okay. I have a motion by trustee Cervantes. I have a second by President Singh. Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Carrillo?
Yes.
Trustee Cervantes?
Yes.
Trustee Kirfan?
Aye.
Trustee Mailing?
Yes.
Trustee Sellers?
Yes.
Trustee Solis?
Yes.
President Singh?
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you. Moving on to item 9, approve the sale and disposal of surplus obsolete district property. Mr. Martinez.
Yeah, good evening, Board President Singh, Board of Trustees, and Superintendent Davis. This item is coming back to you from the last meeting on the sale and disposal of the surplus items. Along with this, we've attached the board policy that defines the sale and disposal of district equipment. And as requested by the board, we'd also like to add clarification for the condition of the electronic components, devices such as the laptops. The condition status only represents the outer appearance of the device and not the electronic components within, and not the condition of the software that's installed as well. Administration is requesting approval to move forward with the surplus and disposal. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. So in other words, these electronic devices are ancient.
Yes. If you look at the purchasing dates, you can tell that they are quite old. Even though it says good condition, that's only just how it appears. Yeah.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Comments? Trustee Kirfan, did you have a question or comment? Okay.
I do not know.
What are the wishes of the board on this item?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. I have a motion by trustee Sellers. Is there a second? I have a second by trustee Cervantes. Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Carrillo?
Yes.
Trustee Cervantes?
Yes.
Trustee Kirfan?
Aye.
Trustee Mailing?
Yes.
Trustee Sellers?
Yes.
Trustee Solis?
Yes.
President Singh?
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you. Moving on to the next item and final action item 10, approve Fresno Irrigation District non-water service for underground and water service proposed fee increase. Mr. Rodriguez.
Thank you, Vice President Carrillo, members of the board, and Superintendent Davis. For your consideration tonight is a series of Proposition 218 election ballots that the district has received. For your convenience, we have provided parcel maps to assist in identifying the affected areas. Proposition 218 is a California constitutional initiative that allows landowners to actively participate in the approval or denial of potential fee or tax assessment increases on their properties. Where there is a potential for assessment increases, the Fresno Irrigation District is subject to the requirement of allowing landowners input. FID, or Fresno Irrigation District, is asking for participation through the special mail-in initiative because as landowners, our district is in the jurisdiction of the agency. And this mainly has to do with the irrigation surface water to the property owners.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the board? So we would be taking action to approve the assessment.
To approve or deny. One of the strengths on this ballot is, they would like to service for water infrastructure, critical updates for existing pipelines. An advantage for the district would be to provide water recharge facilities throughout our district to replenish the aquifers. And legal and water rights defense. So currently FID is working with the State Water Resources Board to protect those rights to those property owners. And
Okay.
most of our pipelines run through our facilities.
So our board would be either providing direction to support or not support this assessment.
You're
So
correct.
If anyone is making a motion, we'll need to clarify.
So the increase is about $6,500 stretched out over the next 5 years, or is that per year?
You're correct. It's stretched out over the 5 years.
And had we been asked or approached by North Kings to join that water board? Not yet?
No, I have no knowledge of that.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments? What are the wishes of the board on this item?
We need water. Motion to approve. I don't think it's going to be voted down, to be perfectly honest, so I think it would be defeating our purpose if we were to vote against it. And the reality is that we have to stay in the good graces of the people that are providing the water to our schools. And that groundwater that is being pumped by the Fresno Irrigation District is almost inevitable unless we are self-sustaining or we're municipality waters. Motion to approve.
Thank you. I have a motion by trustee Cervantes. Is there a second? I will second. Is there any further comment or discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Carrillo?
Yes.
Trustee Cervantes?
Yes.
Trustee Kerfan?
Aye.
Trustee Mayling?
No.
Trustee Sellers?
Yes.
Trustee Solis?
No.
President Singh?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-2.
Thank you. Moving on to our information items. Our first item is receive information regarding public hearing and adoption of the 2023-2024 Local Controller and Accountability Plan, referred to as LCAP. Dr. Boatwright.
Thank you. I do have a presentation that's coming up behind you. You'll notice that is a picture from our multilingual celebration of our EL students that were reclassified. Okay, so the Local Control Accountability Plan, or LCAP for short, is a 3-year plan. We are currently in year 3 of this plan. The LCAP tells us how we're spending our funds to support positive student outcomes that address local and state priorities. We're going to be talking about the LCAP during the next 3 board meetings. These are the components of the LCAP document. It's about 200 pages long. In addition to the budget overview, you will also find all of the updates from prior years, summary documents, and then goals and actions, which is what we're going to be talking about tonight. You can see that the input process for LCAP is ongoing with school site councils, ELAC, and our SELPA. Town hall input meetings started in February. Staff and student feedback sessions were held in March and April, and then superintendent coffee chats took place in March through May. The feedback that was received was compiled and then analyzed. These are the areas that were prioritized based on that feedback. Safe schools and clean, updated facilities were of most importance, followed by behavioral and emotional supports for students, and then highly qualified staff. At the bottom, you'll see the other areas that were frequently mentioned, including expansion of academic interventions, staff training, expansion of parent education opportunities, and also health staff. As mentioned on the previous slide, safe schools and clean, updated facilities were of highest importance. This item is located within Goal 3 of the LCAP. A few of the highlights within the LCAP to address this area include adding campus safety liaisons at Justin Garza High School and Glacier Point Middle School. We will also be adding a second vice principal at Harvest Elementary based on student enrollment. A supervisor focused on campus culture and safety will be added to district staff along with 2 painters. Strong behavioral and emotional support for students lives in Goal 2 of the LCAP, where cultivating an equitable environment is mentioned. A few of the highlighted actions to address this priority include added contracted services to support the behavioral and mental health of our students. We have added an intervention counselor to every school site. We will be adding a psychologist that is specially trained to provide behavioral support for students. Professional development is also provided on an ongoing basis to our staff to help them address and meet the behavioral and emotional needs of our students. Hiring qualified staff and then adding additional staff as needed actually lives in Goals 1 through 3 in the LCAP. Highlighted actions include additional reading and math lab staff to provide academic interventions for our students. We will be adding staff to ensure that a bilingual family liaison is placed at every school site. Hours for kindergarten and special education instructional aides were increased to full-time status at the start of the second semester of this school year. The other items that were frequently mentioned during the input process mostly fall within Goal 1 of the LCAP. We have several highlighted actions that will continue throughout the next school year. These include increases to parent engagement hours and support, funding for intervention staff, such as counselors, reading lab, math lab, and Thinkery staff. We have college and career centers at every high school. We have expanded the hours for after-school programs and also for summer school. In addition, we are developing the community schools model, which will launch in the fall at Teague Elementary School. We've added a new goal to the LCAP as required by the state. The goal is to address one of our special populations, our students with disabilities. We need to improve their graduation rates. Highlighted actions include the development of an SDC graduation pathway that provides an opportunity with support and intervention for these students to earn a diploma rather than a certificate of completion. We are working towards creating alignment between elementary and high school special education programs by reviewing supports provided in middle school, along with program placement and curriculum. And then lastly, we are working to increase connectedness between our students with disabilities and school. Data is being analyzed within an improvement network, and then collaboration is occurring to identify root causes and develop effective solutions to increase student connectedness. These are the next steps in the LCAP process. Advisory groups have access to the LCAP draft along with summary infographics that have been provided for them. Their comments go directly to Mrs. Davis, our superintendent, for review. The LCAP draft is available on the district website and also at the district office for review and comment. This item is coming to you tonight for information, and then a public hearing will be held at our next meeting on June 13th. The LCAP will return once more on June 27th for approval, and then the final version will be submitted to the Fresno County Superintendent of Schools. I would like to publicly thank and acknowledge Annette Grigsby Chamberlain. She's our Director of State and Federal Programs, who has really done a lot of work on this LCAP plan, and so I did want to also publicly recognize her. Administration is recommending that this item be placed on June 13th board agenda for public hearing, and then on June 27th for action. And I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Dr. Boatwright. Any questions or comments from the board on this item? Trustee Solis?
Having seen several of these plans during my tenure on the board, what I would like the administration to move to, that's fine that you have your stated goals and objectives there. I'd like to, I'm interested in measured outcomes. So I would like to see in the plan a baseline of your objectives, where we are at when we start this plan, and then at the end of the plan, we'll be able to measure our growth. Otherwise, what I keep seeing is we put these goals up there, but when that plan ends, very seldom do we get the information back. Did we have growth or did we not have growth in these goals? And that's what I'm looking at. Basically, a measured outcome. For that to happen, I have to know what the current baseline in it is at the beginning of this plan, and then at the end of it, we can measure did we have any growth. Otherwise, all I see that we're doing is we're repeating the same ideas for fixing the problems without knowing whether those items fixed. And like I said, I've seen several of these plans from year to year, the same items are there, but I have no idea whether we had growth under that golden objective.
Okay, and in the LCAP plan, we do have metrics that are there that do note the progress or lack thereof contributed to these goals. I can certainly bring back more specific information if needed or if requested.
Either that or you can do a page where you pull it out so I don't have to dig through the whole thing to find it.
Okay, understood.
And I know you love bullet points.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Trustee Solis. Are there any comments or questions? Any other comments or questions? Okay. I do just have a comment and a question. Thank you for the community liaison, the bilingual community liaisons that will be placed at each campus. I know that I've heard extensively from a number of parents and families requesting that for some time, and so I know that they're going to be appreciative of that. But one of the questions that I typically get is, what is the purpose of these community liaisons? So can you just briefly tell us what their role will be on the campus? I know we have existing positions and they're currently rotating and servicing a number of our schools. But if you can just kind of share with the community and the board as to what the role will be of these individuals.
Yes, absolutely. So our community liaisons are in our front office. They're in our hallways. They're greeting families. They're greeting in students and students as well. So they're definitely a face, of that school site. They also connect directly with families related to attendance. We want them working hand in hand with our counselors to make sure that our students are prepared for college and career, that they're graduating on time. They provide interpretation services, translation services as well. They can assist when there's a concern with a specific student. They can be available to work hand in hand with our counselors, also our administrative staff.
Great.
And we will make sure that the new folks that we're bringing on board, that they are properly trained and then supported in their work.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much. And maybe this goes to Trustee Solis's point. These plans, and at least in my 4 years with the board now, we're constantly hearing about professional development. When we get this presentation again, can we pull what are the different resources and maybe even some of the trainings that we are providing for professional development? Because I'm curious to see whether there's been any change based on the needs. I know we're constantly hearing about safety concerns and behavioral and the need to be culturally proficient. So just kind of to see a list of what that professional development looks like would be great.
Okay.
And again, I know that there's some information in the plan because I've read them in detail before. They're great for having if you have time to read all of it. Great read. So thank you very much. And so this item will return to our next meeting on June 13, 2023 for action. Yeah, because there's a public hearing, correct. Okay, thank you. Our next item, receive information regarding Narcan at school sites. Superintendent Davis?
Thank you. I think I'll start this off. It was a joint effort to respond to the question. You may recall the discussion. The CARE Club, a part of Jakara Movement, came in and presented their survey results from some of the teachers at Central East High School, had a conversation. It started a conversation and a question of you all about what is the feasibility of making Narcan available in our high school classrooms. What are the limitations? What's the liability? What would it look like? And so we did attach some information for you on what Ed Code allows for us to do. We are able to do this or to fulfill this question if we so choose. There is limited or minimal risk, and our staff would be covered under the Good Samaritan law. In order to do this, there was also conversation with all of our labor partners and our leaders in terms of what this would take to move it from where it currently is available in the office and with our safety liaisons who are around campus, and also make it available in every classroom. There is support across all sectors to making that happen. And I know the original question was for all high school classrooms. There was also consideration and a request that it be expanded, if there's interest, to middle schools. And so when we looked at the procurement cost for classrooms, we did include also middle school in that. There is an allocation or an amount right now. I know there are plenty of assembly bills and attempts to make this more readily available, but right now we are actually over our limit, I believe, in how many we get for free, because we are putting it in more places than was originally granted to us. So there's a cost. It would be a minimal cost to procure it, and we could, or we can. We did talk as well about what the training would be, including secondary staff at the start of a school year, in person, led by our health staff. Currently, that is how it is occurring for some of the other trainings also for safety and assist of suicide prevention and those kinds of things. The second part to that we believe would be critical is embedding it as it was done this last year at East Campus in their See Something, Say Something, so that students also received some instruction in their events that they go to. And then all staff participate in an online public works review of certain components, and this would become one of those in the coming school year. Timeline to do this, as you can see, certainly given the action of this board, if we're interested in pursuing it, it would be to identify some of our funds to do this, order inventory, and then be prepared to train staff for the coming school year. It doesn't sound like there's an inventory issue for us to get it to start the school year. So if there's questions, I think Jack and Tammy also could add to any details on it. But there does not appear to be any issue of liability that we had spoke of last time, and or any resistance, certainly from our the individuals that would need to have it in their classrooms. So happy to report that.
Thank you, Superintendent Davis. Any questions or comments? We'll take Trustee Solis and then Trustee Mailing.
Well, I think I'll throw this question at Jack first. If you can't do it, then the superintendent might be able to help us out.
I'll give it my best shot.
Okay. I'm here, well, I'm in receipt of CUDA's backing of this proposal. Are we going to have a separate agreement with CUDA and SCEA? I'm assuming if we're going to have teachers do this, they're going to have to sign off on it. Have they already done that? And also, if we're going to go this route, we might as well have our bus drivers trained too, because the children are going to be with the bus drivers coming to and from school. So do we have currently agreements, or are we going to have to obtain those?
So what we currently have is two official letters from CSTA's Chapter 474 and CUTA supporting officially the expansion of and the use of Narcan in classrooms and at school sites. We don't have a memorandum of understanding that identifies any working conditions. That'd be a continued discussion. But the openness and the overwhelming support from both labor partners is very positive, and expanding them to bus drivers should not be an issue as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, mine's more of a comment too. I think it's important to put those on the buses. Hopefully we never have to use this, or anybody has to use it, but it's going to save somebody's life if we have to. And I also want to thank CARE for introducing this to us and supporting it. And I think they have an event at Garza at 6 o'clock on Friday. Is that correct? Yeah, and I just want to say thanks to them.
Any other comments or questions? Yeah, thank you both. I hadn't even thought about bus drivers, but that's a great idea. There are like 5 or 6 legislative bills that are moving steadily through the legislator's office, and I anticipate that they will pass and be signed. One of them, if I remember correctly, requires that anyone who agrees to provide Narcan needs to have access to it. So I know there was some discussion about like on their person. So I think we'll have to reconsider what that looks like, if it's going to be locked, and how quickly the adults can have access to that. But I love it, and absolutely I want us to move forward with allocating the necessary funds. So what would be the next step? I think we've talked about having a policy, potentially. Do we need that to move forward, or do you just need direction? Well, for this item to come back, probably under action, and have the board provide clear direction.
We have board policy and administrative regulations 5141.21 and checked that, and we will go back through and look to see if there's any revision needed associated with what this discussion, how it lands. So it already lists what we're doing, but we'll check for personnel and the language in it to be as open as the action taken at the next meeting.
Mm-hmm. And to your point, Trustee Carrillo, Assembly Bill 1166 is going to solidify all of that as it goes through the process.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So to Trustee Solis's question, do we need an MOU with our labor partners, or are the letters of support sufficient to move forward?
It is my belief that the letters of support are sufficient at the current time.
Thank you. And so will an item come back for action, or do we need any other? If there's consensus?
We're recommending this come to the next board agenda for action.
Okay, we are. Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Would it be advantageous for us to connect with like a local partner like Payne for help with training and or securing the product? Because as far as what I know is the product is free. So the expense would be the training and the lockup, or what are we paying for?
I think a certain allotment is free. Anything above and beyond the allotment to our schools is of cost to us. So we would definitely need a partner or a supplier, and I think Dr. Boatwright has a few vendors who can help us with that. In terms of the training, we've been through the training. I've seen the training live, and I've seen the training through the health department video, which is 7 minutes long. It's very simple. It's very a very easy process to learn, to the use of it. I don't think that'll be an issue for us to handle internally, site by site, or expanding the online module to from our bus drivers all the way to our principals and everybody in between. You're welcome.
Superintendent Davis?
I'll just add to your point. I think we're indicating what it would cost if we do it, but we will certainly reach out to some of the organizations that have reached out to us in the past and include Payne in that. If somebody can help us procure them at a lower cost, we certainly would love it. So.
Trustee Cervantes?
One more quick question. Is our nursing staff capable of performing this task in terms of training?
Actually, yes. Our head nurse is the person who actually trained us.
So could we utilize them in terms of?
They would, yes. You bet.
Thank you. Okay, this item will return for action to our June 13, 2023 meeting. Can I just ask that we also inform CARE that we're moving through this item in case they're not watching or listening? I'm sure President Singh, we did, okay. In case they want to come and support. I know I received a couple of emails from a student from Fresno State and some other community members asking about the status of this item, so.
Yes, we did as well, and we shared with them what our timeline was. So.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Moving on to our next item, item 4, receive information regarding actual, nope, I'm wrong. Item 3, receive information regarding public hearing and adoption of the 2023-2024 proposed budget. Superintendent Davis.
Action.
Correct, action.
Okay, thank you. This item is actually a placeholder for the process of a public hearing. So at the next meeting and prior to it for public review, the adoption or the preliminary budget for 23-24 will be made available, and that we ask at the next meeting that a public hearing be held, and then following that at the end of June, the opportunity to act on and approve that budget.
Thank you. So that item will return as an action item for June 13, 2023. Now moving on to item 4, receive information regarding actual cost for the sale of district general obligation bonds for the 2020 election series B. Superintendent Davis.
So in accordance with Board Policy 7214, this is the last step of the sale of the bonds, and that is to indicate the actual cost of it. This is an information item only. And in terms of the process itself, it's included on the comments of this. On May 10th, 2023, we did sell Measure D 2020 Election Series B general obligation bonds in the principal amount of $44,997,479.55 with an underwriter's discount of $179,989 and 92 cents on the principal amount. The actual cost of the sale of bonds was $245,000. The debt repayment ratio is 2.2, and the average interest rate is 4.43%. And we just need to do this step to publicly announce that that has occurred.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions or comments? Hearing none, we'll move on to the next item. That was just an information item. Item 5, receive information regarding resolution number 2223-49, committed fund balance. Superintendent Davis.
Thank you. This is the second year that we've done this because there is a requirement of a rainy day fund with the state's budget exceeding a 3% amount. And then in the last year, you may recall that we brought forward a committed funds resolution and list of where we might commit those funds for any of our dollars, both assigned and unassigned, over 10%. And so tonight, what I'm bringing to you is a draft of the resolution, as well as on page 2 of that, a list of categories to commit funds to. And this is for an estimated amount of $18 million. As the proposed budget for next year gets developed, so prior to the next board meeting, we will have an actual amount that we would need to commit over that 10%. So like we did last year, when we bring it back to the next meeting, we'll do a red line if there's, and show you any increases or decreases in the amount that we do need to commit to stay within that 10% of a reserve. Right now, what we have done is taken the purpose that we used this last year in commitment funds and the existing priorities that we had of last year and put the $18 million into those categories. But I do want to bring to your attention, it is absolutely your discussion and decision on, for right now, those $18 million, where you would want to place those, or if you would like to wait until the next meeting when we have the budget to establish where those priorities are. We do need to go through that process so that when the proposed budget is coming to you at the end of the month for approval, that we've appropriately denoted those committed funds into the budget. So for this evening, you can see where they are placed under student learning, facilities deferred maintenance as the highest priority. If you would like to have discussion, I can certainly make notes on where you would like to move those dollars, or if you would like to suggest a different purpose for it from last year, certainly that is at your opportunity.
Any discussion at this time? Trustee Sellers, sorry.
I just wanted to clarify real quick. The $18 million, is that confirmed or is that assumed?
That's an estimate right now. Irma Hicks, who's currently preparing the proposed budget, gave a range of 14 to 24, and so we took right in the middle of it. So I expect that next meeting we'll have it redlined with the actual amount coming next meeting.
Trustee Solis?
I see on your itemized list you have some money put aside for buses. How many buses will that buy?
I'm looking at Jesse. There's $1 million set aside on buses. How many buses would that buy us?
Half of one. Oh, he
It
says
is
4.
I could have guessed it. I'm sorry I didn't. I would have been right. 4.
What types of buses are you looking at?
Can you come join us at the podium, please? Thank you.
Basically, I think my question is, what's the long-term planning for buses? Are we going to get some more diesel buses, electrical buses, compressed gas? What are you looking at?
I believe those are diesel, the 4 diesel buses that will that are coming in on a grant. Those are those 4 buses, I believe. Right now, the diesel bus world is kind of closing down on us with Cummins not going to be able to meet CARB's requirement. Cummins being the largest diesel provider for buses. All the manufacturers are learning to use different methods. Electric buses are still being pushed. They are getting their range up. Gas engines are being pushed to their max to be able to provide more students. We're looking at all the measures we can to replace our diesel buses. Diesel's been kind of the gold standard and will be the gold standard for the time being, because you get a bus that can fit a max capacity of up to 84, but you also get cargo, and you have an infrastructure that's already there in the whole state of California, where you don't have to worry about either charging an electrical bus. Where can you go? How far can you go? How do you do those? How do you plan that trip to be able to charge? You know, how long would that trip take? Same thing with CNG, gas being the second. But like I said, they're pushing that gas engine as big as they can possibly go. But you know, it can't match what a diesel bus is able to do.
So currently, right now, the district is having 3 types of buses. If you're going on a field trip to the coast, what type of bus are you going to use?
If we did it on a yellow school bus, it would be a diesel.
Diesel, thank you. How many electric buses does the district currently own?
1. Or I'm sorry, 2.
And out of the 2, how many are currently being used?
2.
You're sure about that?
Yeah, I see them roll by my window. We had them set them. They were sitting for quite a bit of time, but we got the repairs done on them that needed to. We had the manufacturer help out, got those issues taken care of, and they've been being used.
Okay, let me try the question this way. How much driving time do you have on each one of the buses
Drive time,
between recharges?
They're about 50 miles, and that's pushing it.
And then it's dead, right?
Then it's, yeah. I mean, realistically, on those buses, they are Gen 1. A safe route to be able to get them back, get them charged in between that route, and then that way we still have enough time to get out. We're probably looking at closer about 38 miles. Maybe we're pushing it with the 40 miles. In Central, where our bus routes are not 35 miles, unfortunately. Majority of our routes are anywhere from 40 to, well, they're more than that, so, yeah.
Okay. And currently the district to gas or gas, compressed gas, I guess you would call it, the district owns a refueling station at our bus barns?
Yeah, we have a CNG refueling station facility.
Okay. And currently right now, where are our gas buses gassing up at?
They're busing off-site, or they're refueling off-site at a off-site location right now.
Okay. Why is that?
Our fueling station is currently down.
How long has it been down?
This one's been down for about a few months now.
How about since the beginning of the school year?
It's gone up and down, but it's been down for quite some time, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So do we need to allocate funds towards that, or?
That's just my kind way of bringing it to the attention of the administration.
Okay.
I'm sure they heard what I said.
Yes, I'm sure as well. Okay, so the allocation of the $1 million, is that's to purchase additional school buses. But if I remember correctly, we don't have the space to store these additional buses, right? Aren't we?
We'll be at max after this.
After this purchase?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
We're going to do some imaginative redesigning over the summer to try to squeeze as much as we can, but
I
we'll
believe
be
in
at
you.
max capacity. Yeah.
For whatever that's worth. Okay, are there any other comments or questions? I think this item will return as action, and so think about it over the next 2 weeks, and if there are recommendations. Trustee Mailing, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry. The first one, the student learning support, I'm just curious, is this the money we set aside specifically for special things, or is this totally separate?
This was originally the set aside for student learning, and we're carving out and trying to use all of our learning recovery, COVID dollars, any of those resources that go away first.
Okay, so what do we have left in that other account that we?
Trustee Mailing, are you talking about was it 8 million or 6 million that Trustee Cervantes specifically made a motion to allocate? That's this amount, okay.
That's correct. I just was curious. So now we're spending it all.
I think we're keeping it there.
The purpose of this is to show our commitments that should we need to use these dollars above our 10% reserve, these are the priorities that you have for them.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure, because
it doesn't mean that we'll use them. If we could use other dollars first, they still are there for the conversation and the work of priorities that come up from you all.
Excellent, thank you.
Any other comments or questions related to this item? Oh, I'm sorry. President Singh?
No, nothing on this item.
Okay. Thank you. This item will return for action to our June 13, 2023 board meeting. Next, we move on to item 6, receive information on MOU with Highway City Community Development, Inc. Dr. Boatwright.
Thank you. Engaging families is a priority in our local control accountability plan. We have housed our Parent Resource Center within the Highway City Community Development Center since 2019. This renewal MOU will commit Central Unified to a community partnership with the Highway City Community Center for the next 4 years. Administration is recommending that this item be placed on the June 13th board agenda for action, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments? Trustee Cervantes?
Is $1.60 a square foot, is that the going rate in Highway City?
Yeah, so we did look at comps in the area, and that is very comparable to what is out there. In addition to the space that we lease within that building, we also have access to a public meeting space for families, restrooms, it includes janitorial service, our utilities, all of those things are included with that amount.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions or comments? Did we solicit any feedback from our staff that are currently being housed at the facility, and what was the response?
Yes, we did, and they have asked to stay in the facility.
Okay. And then this, if I remember correctly, the contract increases every year. Did we negotiate any of those numbers? Did we have any discussion about that? And even with that increase, does that still remain comparable to other locations?
Yes, it does. We did not negotiate. We did have our legal team, though, review this lease.
Okay, thank you. This item needs to return to our June 13, 2023 board meeting for action. What are the wishes of the board with respect to action or information, or I'm sorry, consent agenda? Consent? Okay. Okay, I heard one voice. We'll move it to consent, and if anyone has questions.
Actually, can we have it for action?
Sure.
Thanks.
We're outvoted. It will return to action to our June 13 board meeting. Item 7, receive information regarding the 2023-2024 contracts to support academic achievement. Dr. Boatwright.
Thank you once again. So tonight, I'm bringing to you one new academic contract and 2 contracts for annual renewal. These provide services that support our academic goals. So the new contract is for Reading Corps, which is part of AmeriCorps, and will provide tutoring programs at 4 of our elementary school sites. Extra practice and skill building will be provided to elementary students at those sites. A returning contract is for Cognitively Guided Instruction, or CGI Math, which provides professional development that enhances teachers' ability to teach math with a focus on building students' mathematical thinking in grades TK through 3rd. The second contract that's coming back for renewal is Developing Mathematical Thinking Institute, or DMTI for short. This provides professional development for teachers that enhances their ability to teach in a way that encourages problem solving and ensures students are able to model and communicate about mathematics. This training is directed towards the intermediate grades. This type of training does include the use of manipulatives, pictorial representations, and other math tools like number lines, for example, which help all of our students, including our EL students and also our newcomer students, show their mathematical thinking. There's also a great deal of student-to-student interaction, which helps develop language and authentic experiences. Administration is recommending that this item be placed on the June 13th board agenda for action.
Thank you. Are there any comments or questions from the board? Trustee Cervantes?
Thank you. How big of a staff? I mean, they're going to cover every one of our elementaries, correct?
So we have certain grade levels that are receiving the training. They received the training this year. This was their first year. They'll receive training next year as a second year, and then we're also adding our second grade. So every year we're expanding the teachers that are being trained.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other comments or questions from the board? What are the wishes of the board? Return under action or consent? Okay, this will return under consent. Again, even items on consent, if during our next meeting, if someone has questions or comments, it can be pulled from the consent agenda. Our next item is item 8, receive information regarding the 2023-24 dates for elementary schools attending 6th grade camp. Woohoo.
Yes. Good evening, Board President Singh, Superintendent Davis, and members of the board. Contracts do require board approval. Tonight there are 14 contracts for 6th grade camp for each of our elementary schools. Camps include Wonder Valley, Calvin Crest, and Sierra Outdoor. Documentation is attached, and administration is recommending approval, and that these items are placed on the June 13th agenda for action. And I am happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? I'm super excited.
VP Creel.
Yes, go ahead, Trustee Kirfan.
Thank you. I was going to ask, is there any discernible difference in the different types of camps, whether that be Wonder Valley or Calvin Crest or Sierra Outdoor School?
What I would say is that each of the camps offer some different opportunities for the students, but all of them are enriching and are a great opportunity for our students.
But no difference in quality?
From camp to camp, I think that there's differences in opportunities provided. The 6th grade teachers as well as the administrations look at the different camps and decide on what's a good fit for each of the schools.
Thank you.
Trustee,
go ahead.
If I could also add, we also have a partnership now with Wonder Valley. We started sending 6th graders there this year for camp. It's much closer to home, and so families that maybe were more hesitant to send their students beforehand to the other camps are now more willing to send their children, which is really a bonus for us and for our students.
Okay, great. So aside from moving for close proximity, are there any schools that are changing, year by year, whether they go, well, we used to go to Wonder Valley, now we're going to Calvin Crest or something similar to that?
So the question was, are there any schools that change the site that they attend from year to year? I mean, administration can answer the question, but since I've been on the board for 4 years, I can also share that they do. The schools decide what's in the best interest and most cost effective to them. I also just want to share that this is something that the board a couple of years ago approved and allocated specifically $10,000 for each school site so that they all had an equal opportunity to attend a camp. And so I really appreciate that we are expanding and that the 6th grade classes are taking advantage of those opportunities, and that now all of our elementary school students in 6th grade have the opportunity to attend.
And Trustee Carrillo, if I might add, the amount is actually $20,000, up to $20,000. And I have to say, this is the first year that I've seen contracts for all of our school sites to attend.
That's right, yes. This is an increase than even what we had last year, if I remember correctly. But Trustee Kerfan, any other questions?
No, that's all. Thank you both.
Thank you. So again, I'm just really excited about this contract and the opportunity for our students. I know I was in elementary school a really long time ago, but this was definitely one of my favorite experiences, and I know a lot of our high school students still attend as counselors, and it's a great learning opportunity. So thank you to our elementary schools, thank you to our administration, and thank you to our board for supporting and increasing that allocation of $20,000. If there's no objection, this item can return under consent. Fantastic, thank you very much. We move on to item 9, receive information on out-of-state travel. Mr. Bath?
All right, good evening again, board members and Superintendent Davis. Tonight we bring a out-of-state travel request for our bus mechanics to the STN School Bus Inspection Training held in Reno, Nevada on July 15th and 16th. Administration is recommending this item be placed on the June 13th board agenda for action after I answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions or comments on this item? Okay.
Not me, I already asked him enough.
Yes. Trustee Solis has used up all his questions for transportation. Thank you. If there are no questions or comments, this item can return under consent unless I hear an objection. Fantastic. Thank you very much. And our final item, nope, it is not. Just kidding. Item 10, receive information on CalShape grant implementation. Mr. Bath.
All right. Good evening again.
Hello.
So on March 14th, board members approved the final round of the CalShape grant funding, the previous 2 rounds being approved in the previous year or earlier that year. The MLT department opened the RFQ 22-23-017600 on May 9th. Attached is a response from Empowered Solutions. Empowered Solutions will be able to implement the CalShape HVAC plumbing and requirements within the amount that we were awarded of $2,232,814. Administration is recommending this board place this item for action at the next board agenda after I answer any questions for the board members.
Thank you. Any member of the board except Trustee Solis have any questions or comments related to this item?
Just thank you for the great work.
Just kidding,
Take that
Trustee
grant money.
Solis.
Yeah.
Aye.
Trustee Kerfan, President Singh, do either of you have any comments or questions that I may be ignoring?
Thank you, VP Carrillo. I think because it's an information item, I'll ask my questions next board meeting. I didn't catch any of that due to technical difficulties.
Okay, so with that, this item will return under for action in case there are questions from Trustee Kerfan. Thank you very much.
All right, thank
And now for our final item under information, item 11, receive information on Justin Garza High School Aquatics Complex change order number 1 for bid package 9 and 13. Mr. Rodriguez.
Good evening again. Thank you, Vice President Carrillo, Board of Trustees, and Superintendent Davis. For your information tonight is change order number 1, itemized summary, and the itemized summary for the Justin Garza High School Aquatics Project for your review. Both the general specialties and the electrical contractor are the prime contractors on the multi-prime delivery method being utilized for this project. The increase to the project is due to the impact of changes implemented after this project was originally bid. Change orders are an allowable part of construction projects where a change may be initiated by the district contractor or design team at any time during the construction process. This is permitted by Public Contract Code Statute 20118.4. Staff has reviewed and recommends that this item return to the board on the June 13, 2023 for action. And I will stand by and answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Any questions or comments on this item? I just have to say that while the law may permit change orders, this is not my favorite thing.
I know.
I know it's no one's favorite thing. I understand. So with that, I do appreciate the change that has happened over time and providing a significant detail so that we better understand why these changes are occurring. If there's no objection, this will return under consent. Okay, thank you very much. That will conclude our information item section. Advanced planning, the calendar is attached. Next item, additional information and closing comments. Any board member wishing to provide any closing comments or request for information or items? Hearing none. Our next board meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, June 13, 2023, beginning at 6 p.m. for our closed session, 7 p.m. for our public session here at the Central East High School Performing Arts. We do not need to adjourn to closed session or reconvene. And so with that, we will adjourn today's meeting. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
So moved.
I have a motion by Trustee Cervantes. I have a second by Trustee Kerfan. May I have a roll call vote, please?
Trustee Carrillo?
Yes.
Trustee Cervantes?
Yes.
Trustee Kerfan?
Yes.
Trustee Mailing?
Yes.
Trustee Sellers?
Yes.
Trustee Solis? President Singh?
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.